Hello everyone, I am Monali Mishra from KP Gate classes and today we have brought for you some of the last minute strategy for Gate 2023. Now we have like literally 10 days left, I can say. I'm not even counting the February, we just have hardly 10 days left for your Gate examination architecture, which is supposed to be held on 4th of February. And this is a very crucial time for a lot of you students, like some of you may be having your end minute preparation, and it's a very crucial time which is going to make or break your game. So it's very important to follow a few strategies. So we have brought a few tips and tricks, some important topics, some important strategies as to how basically solidify that end moment preparation and how to get an edge above your peers who are also preparing with you. So without a further ado, let's get started with today's video. Now, first of all, I'll just give you a little bit of brief idea about what kind of paper that you are supposed to expect. Now, see, I already know a lot of you may be aware of it, but in case if somebody is not aware of it, then this will help you. First of all, there are three sections that now GATE has divided the architecture syllabus into three different sections. One, you have your common section. Second, you have your architecture. And third, if you have your planning section. Now, common is something that all of you are going to attempt. Whereas architecture and planning section, between that, you have to choose which you want to attempt. If you want to attempt the architecture section, you can do that. Whereas if you want to attempt the planning section, you can do that. So there will be basically general aptitude part, which all of you will be attempting. Then you have the common part, again, which all of you will be attempting. And then you have to make a decision between your architecture and the planning part. Now, this is like a very good thing. The GATE has given you the chance to decide it in the examination hall, basically. So basically you can weigh your options. If you think you're able to score more in architecture part, you can weigh out that option also. But if you think, no, I'm getting more marks and I'm able to score more in planning marks, you can attempt that. Now obviously you don't have an extra reading time for that, so you have to make that decision very quickly. You have to go like very quickly through the questions and try to assess, like, okay, this is the section in which I'm getting more marks. So you have to, this section attempting is a very make or break moment for you, because even 1-2 marks is going to give you a lot of edge in the rank. So do not take that very casually or very lightly. And those of you who are doing this preparation for like months now, I know and I hope that you are not doing a unidirectional kind of a preparation in which you have closed your mind, like, okay, I'm only going to attempt architecture section. Because what happens when we kind of already close the options for us, close the other options, what happens is that we are not left with any other choice. In the end, you have to attempt architecture. But sometimes what happens is that even though you might feel confident in the architecture section, sometimes what happens, the questions might be so that you might end up getting more marks in the planning. So that is why the preparation, I hope you have done the preparation in such a way that you have, or you would be capable of making that choice in the examination hall. So you have to be very careful while making that choice and weigh your options very carefully. Wherever you're getting, see, nobody is going to ask you ki, you have done the planning part, so if you want to do MRP, I'm not going to give you that. That is not going to happen. Your GATE rank is what is going to help you to take up your master course after this, basically. So you have to focus on getting the highest marks, as much marks as you can get. So first is this thing that you have to basically put a lot of emphasis upon, is selection of your section. Which one you want to attempt is very important. Okay, so you have to be very careful in the examination hall. Like, take a few minutes, 1-2 minutes, don't take much time. Quickly go through the questions and then choose the one which you want to attempt. Now, let's come to how, what are the things that we have to do in this end 10 days, 10, 11 days, and how we have to focus our preparation and which direction should we focus. Now, at this moment, there will be two types of students who are watching this video for sure. One, who are probably, preparing for months, who are well prepared, who are confident, feeling excited. And there will be another lot who may have, who are not very well prepared, or who did not even start the preparation, or who are still thinking ki, I have filled the form, but should I even go for the examination? So basically, one is a well prepared team and the other is a team which is, maybe you have started your preparation like 5-10 days earlier only, or you are still not started your preparation, you are still dicey about the entire thing. So I'm going to answer, or I'm going to, cater to questions of both of these groups, which I feel that even if you have not started your preparation, there's nothing to worry. You don't have to basically, you should not get disheartened ki, "Arey, there are people who are studying for months." Okay, sometimes, you never know what ends up working for you. So even if you have 10 days, if you focus on these 10 days, I won't say, or I'm not going to, say that kind of a thing that you can easily get rank 1. But we never know. But at least, if you have a proper strategy even in this 10 days, I am pretty sure you'll be able to get good marks, so, or even qualify the examinations. So first of all, I'll address to the people who have just started preparing, maybe 10 days or maybe a month, or or haven't even started preparing. For you have to understand that, randomly gate syllabus is huge. Randomly studying things from the syllabus is not going to help you. So what is going to help you is your PYQs. So people who have just started, okay, let's say you have just started. So for you, first thing that you have to go through is your PYQ. Very important. Very important for you. Go through your PYQs. Don't go up till 1992. Again, you don't have the time for that because PYQs take time to solve. But at least try to focus on at least past 10. Past 10 years. At least past 10 years. Past, if you can, or 7 6, depending on what your basically, speed is. So focus on this. And it should not be just like looking at the question and then looking at the answer. That should not be the way to solve the PYQ. You have to see the question. So let's say the question is, who gave the garden theory? Let's say who gave the theory of the garden city? Okay. Or let's say the question is, let's say who gave the concept of, you can say, concentric sector theory. Now you have four options. There is one right answer for it. The right answer is okay. You know the right answer. Now you know who gave the concentric zone theory, or let's say who gave the garden city theory. But there are three more options in that as well. So you have to go and explore those options. Let's say there are three other people whose names are mentioned. What are the theories have they given? So this is the way you have to study. Just reading the question and seeing the answer, okay, fine, this is the answer. It's not going to help you, because that same question, it's very, the chances are very vague that the same question will be repeated again. So you have to basically explore the options. Secondly, whenever you are going through the numerical part, you have to try to understand the concept rather than focusing on, what the answer is. Try to understand how they have done it, because again, I told you, there are definitely numerical questions which are very formula oriented. So you have the formula, put the values, done. But then there are certain areas where you have to be clear with the concept. So whatever you're doing, don't be worried about, I have to do 10. Even if you're able to complete 5, it's okay, it's pretty fine. But at least these 5, whatever new concepts you're learning, you should be at least clear with that, so that if those kind of questions come, you will be able to attempt that. That should be the level of confidence, and that should be the level of preparation. PYQs, very, very important. Apart from this, in this video only, in this session, I'll give you certain important topics on which you have to focus. Some important topics. I'll see, there's a huge syllabus, but I'll give you some very important topics from which questions are expected every year. Questions do come every year and can be expected in this year also. So some of the very important topics which you can basically focus on specifically, okay, because you don't have the time to study everything, so you can focus on these certain topics. And the final and the most important thing, revision. Multiple revisions. When you're solving the PYQ, make sure you write that down. Whatever answer you're having, write that down. So when you're solving the PYQs, take a note of it. You have to make a note. Another very important part. Let me give notes. I know there's just 10 days and you must be thinking, what am I going to make the notes about? But whatever PYQ you are solving, that only solve it in the copy, take notes about it. Whatever extra 3 options you are exploring, write that down in the copy. That is only what your notes is. And revise that note multiple times, as much as you can. That is the most important thing. So this is what you have to do if you have just started preparing. These are the things that you have to focus on. Do not try to do a lot. Okay, that is something that you should not try to do. Always PYQ is something that you should start with, because if you have not started, then I assume ki you do not have a very good idea about what things are or what kind of questions to expect, what is the trend, or even if you have started 10 days earlier, I don't think you're that aware of it. So start with the PYQs. Okay. Next is for the people who are preparing for quite some time. So people who are already prepared, they have been preparing for quite some time. This is for them. Now, for you, I don't think PYQ is going to make a lot of difference, because I assume till now you have already learnt everything, and each and every option is basically something that you have mugged up by now. Everything is by heart for you. So PYQ, obviously you can revise whatever notes you have. So first thing for you also, revision is very important. Just because you know everything doesn't mean you stop revising. Revision is very important, so just keep on revising. Do not try to study anything new at this moment, because you have already done. That's what I'll suggest for you. Try to do a bit less. Do not try to overload yourself just because you have been doing, let me do a few more things. No, don't do that. Don't overload whatever you have studied. Revise that and solidify that, so that anything that comes from that topic, you should not make a mistake with that. Secondly, mock test. Very important. I hope you are attempting mock test. Keep on attempting multiple mock test, and so that in mock test also you end up learning a lot of new concepts. Also, you can test whatever things you have learned till now, whatever things you have studied till now. You can keep on testing in that mock test also. So mock test is very important for you people. For those who have just started, obviously I will not suggest mock test, because if you have just started, or if you are going to start after this video, that is not a very good option. So people who are already prepared, are confident that everything is done, mock test is very important. So we also have our mock test. If you want, you can purchase those mock tests. You can try to test your own knowledge with the help of those mock tests. That is something that you can do. And the last point, which is going to be similar, I'll be saying few important topics. I'll be highlighting few important topics that you should also focus on. Now, I think you must have already focused on these topics, but still I'm going to highlight a few things which I feel that you should focus on in this end moment. These are things that you should go through, just to kind of, you can say, direct your preparation in that particular section. So what are these important topics that we are talking about so much? Now there are two sections that I've divided into, the theory part and the numerical part. So let's say for theory part, and the other is numerical. Okay, so these are the two parts from which I'm going to tell you a few very important topics that you have to focus on, from which questions are expected every year. First, in theory, design standards. Design standards from where? First, NBC. You all are aware of what NBC is, 2016, Volume 1. Part 3, development control regulations are given, building standards are given, all of these things, multiple things are there. For example, what should be the turning radius, what should be the width of the ramp, what should be, all multiple standards are there. So study these standards. A lot of them you already will be aware of, because you all are architects. So you just have to brush up on a little bit of extra things that you have to study from here. So it's a brushing up of, or you can say a recapitulation of things that you already know. Second standard is your planning standard, URDPFI. This is a book which has different standards for your planning section, URDPFI. So again, go to the URDPFI and try to see, like, say, let me give you a few examples. For example, in a town, what percentage of the town should be dedicated to a residential area? What percentage of the town should be dedicated to the green areas? What percentage of the town should be dedicated to, let's say, commercial areas? All of these things. What should be the width of various kind of highways? If you have national highways, what should be the right of way? If it's an arterial road, what should be the right of way? If it's a sub arterial road, collector road, right of ways are there. So all these different kind of standards are there in the URDPFI. If you want to know specifically which standards you should read, you can basically go through your previous year questions and try to just get an idea quickly that what are the different kind of standards that they are asking you. Okay, so that is something that you can do. Now, some of the topics from which questions are asked. One is your planning theories. Let's say you have different planning theories. You have multiple nuclei theory. You have sector theory. These are the different kind of theories that you have. You have garden city. You have concentric zone theory, linear city. All of these things are there. Name what are these theories? Neighborhood theory, Radburn, all of these things are there. What are these theories? What you have to study in this is basically first you have to understand what these theories are and who is the proponent of these theory. Very important. Who is the person who gave this theory? So these two things are the most important things. Focus just on these two things. Okay, and if these theory have some kind of model, then make sure you know the model also. Okay, so planning theories are very important. From this you can get questions. Another very important part is name of building and architect. So important buildings and their architects. Again, questions from this is also quite regularly asked. Also, sometimes they ask you the name of the books. Sometimes they might ask you, who gave this particular, let's say, quote. Less is more. Who is the one who gave? Who gave less is more? So these are the different kind of things from which you can get direct questions. Okay. So this is something that you have to also keep in mind. Few more topics that you can focus on from the theory part is, another thing that you can do is, let's say, let me just write it down here. Landscape. Now, landscape is a topic which is under the common part, and there's a lot of theory from the landscape part. For example, trees, their scientific name, what are the different garden styles, what are the elements of those gardens, and it's very simple, very easy to score. So this is also something that you can focus on. These are specifically going to be very helpful for those who have not started the preparation or who have just started, let's say, pretty new into this. Also for the people who, especially for the people who are well into the preparation, you already know that these are the things from which we do expect question every year. So you have to basically now focus on these points specifically more. Now, with the theory part we are done. Next we come to the numerical part. Now, I personally, from my point of view, when I appeared for GATE, I felt that numerical part is actually the one which is more scoring, because in theory, if it's either you know or you don't know, there is no middle part in that. You cannot sit and think about it and suddenly the answer comes to you. No, you look at the question. If you don't know, you don't know. That is it. You take a guess. It may be right, it may be wrong, but I will never suggest you take a guess. There are negative markings in here. Okay, but numerical is what sometimes you can read the question multiple times and you can figure out things. So numerical is much more scoring as compared to your theory part. So make sure you focus on this more, especially those who are well prepared. This is the time when you basically sharpen your concepts and try to revise whatever formulas you have. Now, from numerical part, some of the topics from which questions are asked every year. First is your estimation and valuation part. This is one of the you can say subjects or subsections of the architecture from which questions are asked and expected every year without fail. Second without fail question that we get is from housing. It can be related to FAR, it can be related to density calculations, it can be related to shortage of housing, unit calculation. Again, very simple concept, but you have to have a little bit of revision, a little bit of practice in that in order to get these questions correct. But if you are well aware of what the concepts are, you will be able to attempt these. Then some of the very formula oriented subjects or formula oriented numericals, if I have to tell you, for example, acoustics, illumination or lighting also. Then you have runoff calculation. Then you have scale calculation, scale of map. So runoff, Q equals to CIA. Similarly, for acoustics, reverberation time formula, illumination, these are very formula specific questions. There is not much that you have to think about here, that oh, the gate will suddenly give something very out of the box, something very rocket science is going on. No, these are very simple comparatively and very formula oriented questions. So you can try to, try to understand these concepts. These are comparatively simpler. Another topic that I would like to say is not actually that difficult, but people are scared of it. That is your structures. So if you just don't completely leave structures off, uh, if you're just starting and you don't feel comfortable, that's fine, you can leave it off. But if you're somebody who has prepared, then do focus on this, because structures is also pretty scoring part. Few very stress strain modulus, Young's modulus, all of these are the concepts that you have to be clear with. And then you have to be clear with the few basic concepts. Okay, if you're clear with the base concept, you will be able to attempt few questions at least from this. Okay, so structures is the part which is scoring. Actually, it's not something very difficult. They don't ask very difficult questions from this. They ask questions which we can do. So structures is a part that you can focus on. So these are some of the important topics from numerical part. Again, I'm going to repeat this, that make sure you focus on the numerical part more. I'll just step out of the screen for a, a few seconds. Just take a screenshot if you want to take, so that you can have a detail of whatever topics that are going to come. Make note of it, and then you can do the preparation likewise. Now, before I end the video, some general tips that I would like to give you, which is very important and often looked upon. We often try to, we often ignore these points. First, try to attempt full length test series. If you are somebody who's preparing, so mock test is basically full length test for you. And if you have started, then try to attempt PYQ, whatever previous year question, let's say 2022, 2021. Try to, sit for the entire duration of 3 hours. Try to attempt the entire paper in 3 hour duration. Sit for 3 hours. Don't get up and move randomly. Why we are doing this, we are trying to make us habitual with that kind of a environment where we have to sit for 3 hours. That is not going to be our house. We cannot randomly keep on walking out, drinking this and eating that. No, you have to be that focused. So train your mind to sit for 3 hours continuously and focus on your paper. So that is why attempt full length question papers. Attempt full length question papers. Very, very important. Secondly, when are you going to attempt this question papers? When your slot has been decided. So gate examination, architecture examination is going to be held in the afternoon session. So you are going to attempt in the afternoon. A lot of people have a habit of taking a nap after the lunch. No more nap times, please. At least for the last 10 days. Train your mind to function during these 3 hours, 2:30 to 5:30. That is the time period for your gate. So train your mind to attempt these questions in this. You cannot say that this is the time when I take a rest, so I want to take a rest. That is not going to work. Okay, so this is something that you have to do. Now, reduce negative marking. You have to reduce the amount of negative marking, because it's not just about scoring and attempting question, it is about reducing that percentage of negative marking. And how can you reduce that? Do not do guesswork unless and until you have a little bit of surety. Do not make wild guesses. Okay, there should not be any inky minky going on, any kind of jai mata di going on in the exam papers, please. This, if you really want to score good marks, if you are just for fun, then that's a different thing. But please, no attempt unless and until you're pretty sure that okay, these are the two options, I have a little bit confusion, but I think this should be the answer. Only then take risk. You should not completely avoid guessworking. Why? Because sometimes you see it's not possible to know answers to all the questions. So little bit guesswork, not guesswork, but a little bit chances have to be taken, but it should not be very blind guess. Okay, so these are the three things that you have to focus on. Keep your calm. Okay, do not try to like be very, do not be very nervous or very overexcited about anything. Keep your calm, have patience, and attempt it very coolly. Okay, okay. Another very important thing: decide sequence. Sequence for what? Sequence in which you are going to attempt the question paper. Now I have to give you my example. I personally did not feel confident starting with the general aptitude part. I felt much more confident, because I felt like, okay, general aptitude, we can do it afterwards also in few minutes time. But I felt that, attempting architecture part, because at that time we did not have architecture and planning separate. So attempting the, common part, the main part is more important than the general aptitude. I felt much more comfortable. So that is how I decided my sequence. I started with the with that common part, or with the core part, and in the end I attempted the general aptitude part. So you have to decide whichever way you feel comfortable. If you feel comfortable starting with the general aptitude part, start with the general aptitude part. If you feel much more confident starting with numericals, start with numericals. If you feel confident starting with the theory, start with theory. Okay. And how you're going to decide this? Obviously by attempting questions. Only then you'll get to understand what is your comfort level. So this has to be decided beforehand. Everybody works in a different way. And general aptitude is very important scoring part, which you just cannot miss no matter what. It's a very easy marks in your bag. And how do you get these easy marks? First of all, focus on the previous year question paper. You do not have to go on any you don't have to buy any bulky these question aptitude books and all this. Right now there is no time for that, and it's okay. Even if you don't do that, that's fine. Go through previous year question papers. Whatever general aptitude is, solve that at least past 10 years. That will be more than enough to give you that kind of a confidence with general aptitude section. Okay. And you can just stay updated with our channel, because we will be soon releasing, very soon releasing the strategy and what are the things that we should focus in general aptitude part also. So you can refer to that video also. But for now, start preparation for the past 10 years based on your past 10 years question, or previous year question papers. Okay. So these are the things that you have to keep in mind. And obviously, if you have any other doubts, any other queries, you can definitely ask your queries in the comment section below. If you felt this video was helpful to you in any way, make sure to like this video, to subscribe to our channel, to stay updated with much more strategies which are about to come in near future. And keep your calm, keep preparing. Anything can happen. Don't be disheartened by anything. And I wish you all the best for the GATE 2023 papers. Thank you.